What's up, Victoria? It's me, Victoria, and I just got back from a creator and friends retreat, and I was gifted a lot of product while I was there. I'm not going to be sharing like the full details of my trip in this video. I did that for patrons and members. I might not be live for patrons and members, but that's where it will be if you are interested in hearing how the trip went. It's also kind of like a PR unboxing, crossover event of the season. The PR unboxing in the Patreon member video was not really like an unboxing. It was just like more of a way to like push the story forward as I was telling it, because you get stuff on different days. I also have some stuff I bought. Only one thing I bought. So let's get started. If you are new to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. I just want to say at the top of this video, just kind of as a disclaimer, this is part of the work that I do, and it's very kind that these brands sponsored and gifted us a bunch of stuff while we were at this creator and friends retreat. However, just keep in mind that this is like not normal. I understand that this is not how your relationship with makeup is, and so this really isn't to brag. It's just to share information as I'm using this stuff for the very first time. Almost all of its first impressions. So in the Catskills, I wasn't gifted a primer. I was gifted a sunscreen, so I figured we could use it as a primer. So Undefined Beauty sponsored a brunch that we had. Unfortunately, the owner who was supposed to come and like present their stuff to us and give us a little bit of education fell ill. And they also were feeling so unwell that she couldn't even do a Zoom, which was like the backup plan, but it was very nice of them to send stuff any which way. So I'm not really familiar with this brand. I did learn it's a Black-owned, woman-owned brand. So that's really exciting, and it seems to me like a lot of what they offer is sunscreen. In the world of sunscreen, I know it can be very hard for people of color to find things that work for them. They have a tinted version. This is a broad spectrum SPF 50, and this one has homosalate, octocrylene, octosalate, and avobenzone. So this one's a chemical sunscreen. That makes sense to me. It's white when it comes out, so I would assume that chemical sunscreens work better as far as like not creating a white cast. I know that mineral SPFs tend to, and I think they get us the tinted mineral SPF. And I think they're also working on another SPF. I'm gonna apply the full 2 fingers in whatever way I feel so inclined. It does smell like SPF, you know, it has that like sunscreeny smell, but it does call itself like a serum. The texture feels like a light gel lotion to me, not quite like a serum. To me, a serum would be something that had like a little bit of a thinner consistency than this does. But as I'm blending it into the skin, I feel like it's blending in pretty quickly for me, and I'm not feeling like I have to like continuously rub it in. That's a really pretty finish. I'm actually gonna let this set while we do eyeshadow before I go in with anything else. I like a chemical sunscreen, so this works for me. I also really like how compact this little bottle is. It feels like small and travel worthy. I find that like big squeezy tubes, I don't know, they're like always like cumbersomely large in my opinion. But yeah, and then after I do my eyeshadow, we'll check in to see what the finish of the SPF actually looks like once it's soaked into my skin. I'm not trying to tell you what to do or whatever. If you prefer mineral sunscreen, wear mineral sunscreen. I prefer chemical sunscreen, and I'm going to just report about the finish of this. It also doesn't feel like I have 2 fingers worth on, even though that's what I put on. I find that sometimes whenever I do that, it can feel very thick and gloopy on the skin, but it doesn't feel like I'm wearing a full face of peanut butter. If that means anything to you, then you will probably like this so far. So we're going to play with 2 new things, but before we zoom in, I want to show you the eyeshadow palette, even though that's not the first thing I'll be featuring. So this is from DEDE'S Signature. This is their Fearless Holiday Palette. This is what it looks like on the inside. Very pretty. It looks like it's going to be like really fall from the outside, but then when you open it up, there's like quite a lot of blue in here, which, not that blue can't be in nature. I just feel like when we're talking about like holiday fall vibes, blue is not really a color I think of, so I think that's quite interesting. I'm gonna keep it pretty basic with the eyes. I'm not gonna try to do anything too splashy here on this day, in this moment, just because I want to just try the eyeshadows, and I'm just gonna do like a normal eye that I would do, but I will come back and play with this with like a more colorful look. And I'm going to zoom you in as I play with it so you can see how it blends and what the pigmentation is like. And I'll also walk you through it. I'm going to zoom you in, but I also have another product to talk about. So the other product that I wanted to talk about and try for the first time is this from Sigma. It is their eyeshadow base primer, and I picked up the shade Persuade. They had 2 different options. This was the more pinky of the 2. I've heard good things about this, but I also know that this is quite expensive for what it is. So we'll see what we think about it. I'm not really sure how much to apply. In my brain, thinner amounts is always better. Apply a little more here. It's not feeling super tacky, but also not feeling super slippery either. Although I've had eyeshadow bases that feel slippery to the touch work really well for me, so I'm not really sure what's better. It does feel like nice and smooth. I feel like if I did want to just put powders right on top of it, I could. But considering this to me so far just feels kind of like a regular eyeshadow crayon, I'm not really sure how well it will hold my eyeshadow on. I'll have to try it with like eyeshadows I know the performance of to really understand. I don't know anything about DD Signature's formula. I just know that they're an indie brand. They're cool. They just haven't crossed my radar yet. And we're also going to be using we also got some brushes in PR. So we got some Rephr, and I also picked up some Singe ones. They were in the gifting suite, so I grabbed those. So I'm going to use this Rephr 01 brush to take a nude eyeshadow shade. It's called Soft Phase in this palette. I'm going to set the eyeshadow base with that. And you may recall that I did a video where I wasn't super impressed with Rephr eyeshadow brushes, and I did get to meet Tom, who owns Rephr, and we had a little chat, and he was very kind and very sweet. And obviously I have no animosity towards the brand or him. It's just the brushes were just not up to my personal standards for brushes. So I don't know if these brushes have been updated. Their packaging is different, but I have some of the numbers I tried before in this little bundle that they gave us. So the eyeshadow's looking really pigmented. It seems to be blending quite well, but it's not far off from my skin tone, so I won't be able to really speak to pigmentation of the shades until I start working with something a little bit darker. Since I've tried Rephr brushes, I'm gonna work with a Singe brush. This is the E10. I'm going to go into the shade Saddle, and it looks a little dark for a transition, so I'm going to pick some up, kick some off. I'm going to apply it very gently into the crease. This brush is feeling a little dense for this. Okay, let me see if I have a Rephr brush that'll work. Let's try the Rephr Shodu 03. Oh no, I've never seen that. I know that Rephr is repackaging their brushes right now because I guess a complaint they get a lot is about their packaging, which I don't know. Most brushes I've bought, like even Sonia G brushes, I think one of the Sonia G brushes came in a box, but most of the time they're just shipped in the plastic wrapper. This is a really interestingly shaped brush. It reminds me a little bit of those fancy Surratt brushes that have a little bit of a calligraphy. This is blending quite well. The eyeshadow is blending quite well. The thing whenever you're working with a new formula with new brushes, with a new eyeshadow primer, if there is an issue or something that you want to comment on, it's I don't know which thing is causing it. I will say once I put powder on the eyeshadow base, I do feel as though it became more sticky in that moment. I'm going to go back in with a little bit of the first shade and blend out the edges. I'm not really loving the blend on the outside, but I think it's just that the crease shade is a little dark for my liking. And that's no one's fault. That's just a preference thing. I'm just trying to get it to the pigmentation that I want it to be at. That looks a little bit better to me. Let's do the other side. Rephr gave us these beautiful mirrors. I'll have to hold it up in a second. And I'm obsessed with it, and traveling home with it was so scary. I also was gifted a glass with my handle on it from Sigma, and traveling with that home also was scary because I had to take a plane, and I also had to get all of my shit to the plane. I overpacked. Well, no, I didn't overpack. I actually wore most of the clothes I took because I had 2 legs of my trip. I could have probably consolidated everything into one suitcase, which I opted not to do, and I think that was where I ran into problems. Because I don't know if you've ever tried to take a personal item in 2 suitcases on public transit to get to and from the airport. Well, just from the just to the airport. It was quite the task. Okay, let's go back to Singe. This is the E11 brush. And I'm just going to take some of the deepest brown in here, which is the shade called Kajal. And I'm just going to keep that focus right here. And wing it out a little bit. Okay, so the Singe brushes are definitely, and I know that I don't have all of the Singe brushes, and I think that the eye brushes that we got were from the second eye brush launch from Singe that were offered to us. So I can't really speak to those, but so far the 2 that I've tried are rather dense. And then I'm gonna try this E12 brush and just take a little bit of the same shade and do a little of this. These bristles are pretty firm, although I did like the control I had, but like these bristles don't really have a lot of give on this brush, which I think could be a benefit to some, a non-benefit to others. A hindrance? I don't really know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I like the angle of this brush. It feels really easy to do liner just because of like that angle at the top. So I'll have to try this with like a gel. I'm actually gonna try taking it all the way to the inner corner. Sorry, you can't see me. Yeah, I like that. And I think I like the density of the bristles, even though it was kind of like shocking at first how stiff they were. I'm gonna throw on some of the Pixie Epoxy down because I think this shade's gonna have some fallout. I saw Shelly-ish put this on her eyes and it was really pretty, but it also looked like it could have been a troublemaker. You know, it was like, oh, that's so pretty, but it looks like it also would have a ton of fallout. So I'm going to use the Shadow 00 brush from Refer to apply the shimmer. And I'm applying the shade Chai Latte, which is this champagne sparkle here. We're going very neutral, just because I want to. Okay. That's very pretty. Personally, I wish there was a little bit of silver sparkle in there. Beggars can't be choosers. So far, like the mattes blended quite well, even with brushes that I was unfamiliar with. I felt like they had a nice bit of pigmentation. I would like to play with this palette with more controls rather than with more variables, which is like what I'm doing now. But so far, it's going quite well. I quite like this shimmer, although it looks a little bit shimmerier in the pan than the other shimmers, but I just think that this formula is specific to the shade. The other shimmers look like they may all be the same formula. I got a little bit of fallout from that sparkly shade, which is totally fine. So I was doing my eyes first. I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup. I'm going to line the waterline. I'm not going to go into the tight line with Cocoa from Victoria Beckham. And then we're going to finish off with the Kulfi Body Lash Mascara. And this is what I took to New York with me. In a previous video, you saw me apply it for the first time and I was kind of unimpressed with it. But after that first time using it and using it in New York, I'm actually quite impressed with it. I've had no flaking, budging issues with it, which is totally great. And I actually really like the way it makes my lashes look. And it does come off in tubes for me, and it's just, I don't know, it worked really well. And the one day it was so humid, it wasn't even really that hot, but it was so humid, most of the makeup melted off my face. I did very minimal makeup, oh my goodness, but the lashes, they stayed on. They didn't budge all day. I think there was one point where my eye watered a little bit more than I wanted it to, and it was like raining, and I feel like a little bit of it got in my eye. It really didn't matter that much. I love this mascara so far. So yeah, not impressed upon opening it. I think that giving it a little bit of time to breathe, as with all mascaras, truly showed me who she was. I also feel like it just adds incredible length. Like the length is the really impressive part, not so much the volume, but I feel like it adds a little more volume after having been open for a while. So we have a really cute glam eye, simple glam, but glam eye. We'll start with concealer. I'm going to use the Victoria Beckham concealer in the shade FL1, not 01, FL1. I'm just going to let it sit for a second. I'm going to have a little bit of soda. We're going to try a new foundation. I'm sure you've already guessed what it is. The Victoria Beckham Foundation. This is the Victoria Beckham by Augustinus Bader. The foundation drops with luminous light coverage and TFC 8. TFC 8 is why everything from Victoria Beckham that has it in it is so expensive. That's like Augustinus Bader's proprietary formula. And this is what the packaging looks like. It's this shiny black squeezy packaging. Not super luxurious. Would have loved a pump, especially since we are so well aware of how beautiful Victoria Beckham can be with packaging. But when I bought this, I did buy this in person. I went to Printemps. I don't know why I hit it so hard. Printemps. Let me say it American me. Printemps. Which I went to because of Colin, who is also known as Queer Bones here on YouTube. They went there and they said that they had the Victoria Beckham line. I wanted to swatch it in person and see some of the colors. Not this. Other colors, other things in the range, like eyeliners and stuff. But they had it and I got color matched to it and it looked really pretty on the skin. And I figured that a lot of you might be curious about my thoughts on this. This is $110. And I think I'm at the point in my makeup career where I'm like, we're at diminishing returns. Do you guys know, I forget what the theory is called, or like I think it has a name, where like for the most happy one person can be, there's a certain amount of money. There's like a threshold. Like, I don't know what the number is, but like, once you make that amount of money, any more money that you make beyond that is stressful and like it's not even really worth having. Like there is like actually a number to this. I'm feeling that way about makeup. Now, I know it's like me of all people to saying that in this time frame or ever is like probably really a big joke to some of you to be like, oh, now there's a line in the sand. And now there is a line in the sand. That isn't to say that like I'm only going to be interested in drugstore. I've just, there's a lot of reasons I was like more interested in luxury makeup than drugstore or even like, high-end stuff that would be in Sephora. It's just, I don't know. It's what I was drawn to. But with the way that prices are right now, I'm like all but ready to step out of the makeup consumption game altogether and just be like, I'm just going to use what I have. And now that I bought this and I'm saying all of that, I'm going to go on a no buy for the rest of the year. I'm not going to make a whole video about it, but I'm just not going to buy any makeup for the rest of the year. I just want to recalibrate and figure out my thoughts. This isn't also meant to be like a whole new channel or whatever coming out of this. I still want to make beauty content. I'm feeling like, even though a lot of my content is, you don't need these things, you already have really great things, and that's trying to be what I focus on, even though I also review new things. I'm just feeling like we're being played right now in a very real way, but we've been played the whole time. I've been played, and I just feel like all these brands are feeling like they can charge whatever they want and do whatever they want, and I'm not going to give them my money anymore. The only brands that I would like even consider buying from in the next couple of months would be independent brands, and that's my suggestion to you as well. You don't need to shop at Sephora or Ulta. Buy direct from indie brands. They are the ones, if any brand needs your money right now, it would be them, but you don't even have to buy from them if you don't want makeup. But that would be my first suggestion, is to shop from indie brands. Now, that doesn't mean that will be all I feature in the future either. It's just my thoughts and feelings right now. I just don't want to buy any makeup. It's not even because I feel like I've spent a ton on makeup. Like, that's not really the vibe that I'm coming off of. It's not like that. It's just like, I'm just like, fuck these brands. That's kind of like really how I'm feeling, is like, these brands and the way they're playing us right now. Back to the Victoria Beckham Foundation. There are a few of you that I told, there's no way in hell I'm buying this because it's so expensive. And again, I know, pot kettle black, talking about that, but it's just like, I'm feeling played. However, I went to the store, I got color matched, it was beautiful. I get swept up in a luxury moment sometimes, so I did end up buying it. But honestly, before I even like put this on my face and try it, I'm gonna tell you right now, whatever this does to my face will likely not be worth it unless you're in a very different tax bracket than I am. The sales associate who applied this for me and sold this to me was very clear about how much you should really shake it. She said you have to shake it well, like no less than 3 times. And as she was handing me the bag with my stuff in it, she said, don't forget to shake it. It sounds like there's an agitator in it. It's just like not super loud, but there's still a lot of product. Now, I have seen and heard some rumblings from people being like, it looks like a foundation. And I guess I'm confused. It is called a foundation. It's not called a skin tint. So I'm going to review it and assume it's going to apply like a foundation. So let's put it on half of my face. I was matched to shade FL3, Fairlight 3. I'll put some on my hand just so you can see the texture and consistency of it. I'm going to put the rest of what I'm going to use on my palette. It is quite thin, but not runny. It's definitely like very liquidy looking. Let's see how it blends in to the skin. It's looking a little peachy. No, now it's blending out. It's not looking as peachy. That was scary for a second. In Printemps, printemps. The lighting was glitter lighting. You may not know what I mean by that, but have you ever been in a store, clothing or makeup store, where everything looked so sparkly just because of the way it was lit? That was how the lighting in Printemps was. It was like everything looked so sparkly. However, it was not great color match lighting. However, I did wear this shade out in the natural light because like I said, she did apply it. Oh, I meant to use a different concealer. So I'm gonna try using, I'm not really sure. These three brushes from Singe look pretty similar. Use this one. I'm not really sure if this was the intention for it. I'm gonna use the F05. It's not actually super densely packed. And for formulas that are this thin, I don't tend to like super densely packed brush. So I'm just gonna lightly apply it. That looks like a good match. I also am really liking this brush for applying this formula. And I will say the sales associate, when she was applying it to me, she was basically like, you're not going to see a lot of coverage. You're just going to see like evening out of redness. She also pointed out a number of times that it's a serum. Like she was like, it's a serum. Think of it as a serum, not so much as a foundation. Okay, it's on this side. No foundation. Honestly, surprisingly, after this trip, my skin is actually in pretty good shape. We have like a couple zits going, but I feel like normally after a trip, I haven't been doing my usual skincare while I was away. That tends to lead to like a lot of like breakouts for me. But we came back. I don't know. I think, unfortunately, that does look really pretty. There are a lot of foundations that I've tried that are much cheaper than this that I feel like do a very similar thing and are also quite pretty. I think the only added benefit one might see from this, and if this was your everyday foundation, is that TCF 8 is supposed to be like an anti-aging mix of ingredients, which is again proprietary to Augustinus Bader, which is also an expensive brand. But this is definitely a foundation. Like I would say it's like a little bit glowy. I don't know if that's from the sunscreen, although I don't think that the sunscreen looks super glowy on this side, so I think that's some of the serum quality, like just making it look luminous. However, it's not lifting when I touch it, it is setting, but still glowy. I very much like the way that this looks. Also, I was so sweaty when she applied it to me in the store, and it still applied really well. And I'm not getting any pilling from the SPF, which is also pretty promising for using it underneath foundation, although I'm gently sweeping this on my face, so I'm not really sure if that would happen, just based on the way I'm applying it. But here we are, full face. Yeah, it's quite lovely. Fortunately for all of us, I really like the way that that looks. I'll zoom you in so you can get a little bit of a closer look at what my skin looks like. Obviously, it's not fixing texture. It didn't really cover that. So this is for a very specific person with very specific coverage needs. While I was in Printemps, it's like I'm someone who went like on a foreign exchange. Like I traveled abroad, studied abroad for a month, and I was like, Printemps. I did go and swatch the new version of this, and I gotta say, I actually was like, maybe I'll buy it to review and bring it home, but I swatched it on my hand and it was sparkly. And I never feel like this version of this is sparkly. I have actually zero interest in trying the new one. Just like I like swatched two of the shades on the back of my hand, and it was like once I like worked them into the skin and they were set, they were sparkly, which is not what I have had experience-wise with the original formula. So RIP to a real one, but I still have this one to use. I do want to try it obviously in conjunction with this, but the only thing I liked about the new packaging was it was magnetic. Like it had that like click, which is just so satisfying. I am going to powder my under eyes, and I have a new product. This is from Wet n Wild. This is the Hello Kitty 50th Anniversary Loose Setting Powder. There was a table where if you ended up with something you didn't want, you could leave it on the table, and, you know, people could go and look at what was available on the table throughout the weekend. And I found this sitting there. So this was something that Andromeda brought, and I finally got to meet Andromeda in real life, which was so cool. I got to meet so many people in real life that I only have known online, and that's always so cool. They brought this in. They were telling me, so this is what they told me. They now sell this exact powder in a 20-ounce container, and it's the same exact formula. So this became permanent because this went over very well. Now, I actually had already opened this and used this a couple times in the Catskills, and I was using it with a powder puff, which you may be like, who is Tom and what happened? Like, so Singe had powder puffs, has powder puffs, and I just like never really got into the powder puff powdering of it all. But I'm just gonna set this under eye. Just like, look at how brightened and blurred it is. It's so bananas. So I'm just gonna powder my nose with it, just the center of my face. I'm gonna use a more translucent powder for the rest of my face. This has a slight pink hue, which I think on my skin tone doesn't really read, but just like look at how airbrushed it looks. And it looks good in real life too. It doesn't look super powdery. Like, just basically the kind of issue I had when it came to like powdering like this, but like, it's like I have no pores. It's incredible. But Wet n Wild. We went from Victoria Beckham's $110 foundation to this, and like, this was the thing that I've tried so far from the stuff I got from the Catskills that has like just blows me away. It's so good. Okay, that's for the powder for now. I'm gonna bronze with the Trixie bronzer in Sunkissed, and then we'll do highlighter, and then we'll do blush. I'm gonna use another Singe brush. This is the F01. It's not as big as my usual bronzer brush, but just to keep on using stuff that I got in the Catskills. This works. I think I do prefer having just like a big cream bronzer brush now. I'm just so accustomed to it. I also just feel like I'm so spoiled. I have like, I guess a lot of my face brushes are just big because like this brush feels kind of small to be a face brush, but unless it was meant to be a blush brush, which is also very possible. I'm just going against the rules, but it's working fine for doing this. It's just like, I love my, as begrudgingly as it was to get that BK Beauty brush, I do like it. To highlighter, I swatched this product and I'm not really sure what to make of it. So in our goodie bag that was like sitting on our bed when we got to the Catskills was this from BareMinerals. It's the Complexion Rescue Highlighting Blush in the shade Pink Glow. I will say in my swatch, it didn't really have a lot of base pigment, but it did have a little bit of glow, but it didn't really seem to be committed to either act. So I'm gonna pick it up with the Singe F07 brush. I'm just gonna tap it onto the high points of my cheek. I also do a finger swatch, which I realized I forgot to do. It's pretty frosty. I don't even know if you can tell. Like, I can see it in person. It's very much giving glamorous, sweaty kind of a finish. I'm also curious if this will set down. Nothing seems to be picking up the Victoria Beckham foundation either, so that's a testament to the foundation and the quality of the stuff I've been putting on it so far. It all seems to be holding up quite well. I don't know, that's not a blush. That's certainly a highlighter. I'm gonna pick up what's left and just swatch it on the back of my hand. Like, you can't, it's like barely pink. It definitely would be better for a cool toned like eye look. Like if that's what I was really trying to do, I think it would work better for that. Also, Linda liked it, and Linda tends to like warmer product just because of her skin tone and her hair. It's feeling a little bit tacky, but maybe like it will set. But I'm gonna powder the rest of my face, which is like really honestly not even that much left to powder. I didn't contour. Huh, that's okay. I used the About Face powder, which I got in PR before the trip. And then for blush, I'm gonna use this from Singe. This is my first time trying any of the makeup from Singe as well. This is the shade Riveting Rhubarb. I was actually quite surprised just based on like Angie's makeup aesthetic. Like, I just really wasn't sure. I picked up two of the blushes. Like, I was offered I don't know how many there are. I just wasn't expecting there to be one this neutral in her collection just because of like the kind of makeup she does. So I'm imagining this is going to be like maybe like a coral peach. Ooh. That's very pretty. That blended out quite well. It's a little pigmented, but I wasn't really sure what I was getting into. I can't stop putting it on. This shade's interesting because I feel like when I look in the pan, that looks like peachy to me, like maybe a little bit warm, but like I would describe it like as a peach as opposed to a pink, but I feel like on my face it's reading more like just like a straight up pink, maybe with a little bit of warmth in it, but not even like, I don't know. It's very pretty. Let me do a finger swatch for you. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty though. It's pretty. I was expecting just like, I guess, less neutral shades in the blushes, but I also picked this one, which also I feel like is more colorful now it's on my face than I feel like it looked like in the pan. Going over the edges with my foundation brush. The Complexion Rescue has mostly set down. It still has like a little bit of tact to it, but I don't think if my hair fell in it, it wouldn't come out of it. You know, like I don't like if my hair swung into it. It's not like super sticky, although on this side, that's exactly what happened. This side's stickier, but it was the second side I applied. I don't know. Maybe touching it and pushing it into the skin is the move. I feel like that went so fast. There's a ton of product that's not being featured in this video that I got on Creator and Friends. Like I said, all of that will be on Patreon and channel memberships, which I'm not really even trying to push. I'm just like, just also know that this isn't to the end. I'm gonna remove my lip balm and then we're gonna apply this, which might be a little bit too much, but we'll try it anyway. It's gonna be fine. This last thing I'm trying is from Gourmand, girls. This is from their Trapped collection, which is very much giving Little Shop of Horrors. I don't know any of the words to any of the songs. Suddenly see more. So this is in the shade Sweet Bait, and I just want to commend, I just feel like we so very rarely see artwork on the top of the cap, and it's on there, like it doesn't seem to be a sticker, so I'm not really sure how they like got that on there, but it's gorge. This gloss looks very sparkly. I love sparkly glosses. It has like kind of like a multi-chrome. I'm seeing like pink and green shimmer in it. I'm gonna go in with a disposable wand and get some on there. I actually quite like this lip gloss color. It does not really go with this look, so I think I'm gonna take it off before I like wrap up the video. But what I will say, it's not super sticky. An incredible amount of shimmer particle in there. I think I can feel the shimmer particle, so if you're sensitive to that, which I know a lot of people are, this might not be for you, but I can't, like, that doesn't bother me. I want to put this over like a dark lip liner, and I think that would be really, really quite stunning. And it has like a vanilla scent to it. Very pleasant. I'm gonna throw on something a little bit warmer, just considering the rest of the colors. I do have an Undefined Beauty lip gloss. Considering I have all this shimmer on my lip, that's not going to come off unless I use tape, which I'm not going to use right now. I'm just going to throw on this Froze lip glaze from In Beauty Project, which was PR. It just happens to be sitting on my vanity. It's not looking as frosty, but that did totally fix it, but I'm ready to move on. The R&R Sun Creme Broad Spectrum SPF 50 from Undefined Beauty. I liked it. I think it looked really good. I liked the finish of it. It didn't seem super shiny. I could definitely see myself choosing this sunscreen, but it is a chemical sunscreen, which I prefer. So you have to also be okay with that. But if those things all align with what you're into, I quite like this. I will try the mineral tinted one at another time. The Sigma eyeshadow base, I can't really speak to that until I've worn makeup for a while, but it wasn't my favorite thing to apply. I don't know. It was fine. I don't know. That's kind of where I'm landing on that. The DEDE'S Signature eyeshadow palette, very pretty, but I did the most basic of looks I possibly could. So I will report back. I will try using some of the more colorful shadows in a future look, but I'm very happy with what I was able to achieve today. I especially like that shimmer. It's not like a shimmer color I think I will wear a ton of because it's a little bit on the golden side, but I like it. It's pretty. The Kulfi mascara, as I mentioned in the segment, I've been really loving it. It's really turned the beat around. The Victoria Beckham Foundation, unfortunately, is very beautiful. I very much like how it looks on my face. So do with that information what you will, but I don't think any foundation is going to be worth $110. We all have different thresholds. I think $100 is my cap for a foundation product. And I know it's only $10 over that, but it's just like, why? 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 And also, why? The Wet n Wild pink powder. If you're looking for a pink powder, start here before you pay for like the Huda or the Patrick Ta one. Not Patrick Ta, Patrick Star. I don't care about this. This is the BareMinerals. This highlighting thing. I don't care about it. It's like, whatever. Ooh, the powder puff. I love the powder puff. Although I feel like there are also alternatives to that. The blush was really pretty. I want to use it not in conjunction with that liquid, because I didn't set the liquid when I powdered my face, like the liquid highlighter. So I do feel like it kind of was just like harder to blend through that area because that was still kind of tacky. But I think the blush is really pretty, and it could be a shade that I might find myself using more than I thought I would. I just wasn't expecting for the Singe blushes to be in shades I liked. And then finally, the lip gloss, even though it didn't really work for this look that I have on currently, I'm excited to use it for a moment because it feels like a moment, and I'm excited for that moment to come. Oh, I do want to spray my face because I feel like I am looking a little bit powdery. Anyway, that's going to be it for me in this video. Didn't mention it at the beginning, but make sure you check out the pinned comment to support people directly in Gaza if you have additional funds. I'm on Patreon and I have channel memberships. I do an additional video over there every single month. No worries if you're not into that. I'm happy that you are here liking, commenting, and sharing my content. And I think that's really going to be it for me. Remember to follow your hope and you'll find me. And I'll see you in a video very soon. Go forth. Tits out.